what's it, longest
Escape and evasion. Yeah, escape
in
and evade.
history, like 200 miles. Like, it was 8 kids. Was it Iraqis went?
Yes, it was in Iraq. We went in to Iraq to look for Scud missiles, but we broke every standing operating procedure going. Now, the SAS have what they call SOPs, and it's how we it's how we conduct operations. Well, our maps dated back to 1945. We didn't have the right clothing. We didn't have the right radios. We didn't have the right intel, and we were going in to basically dig in underground to an area that overlooked a main supply route. And when we got there, we found that the main supply route wasn't like a tarmac road. It was just a series of tracks. Well, the missile, the Scud, can't drive down them tracks. It needs to be on like a proper road. So we knew we were in the wrong place. And the weather was a big factor. It was the worst winter Iraq was having for 30 years. And it was within a short period of time we were compromised. And we tried to establish communications back to base. Couldn't get through. I eventually got through by tapping out Morse code to some guy in Cyprus who then relayed a message back. But by that time it was too late. We ended up in a contact, and then Iraqis tracking us down over the period of, say, 2 or 3 days. Well, the first day I was split up from the group with 2 of the lads. Sadly, in the early hours of the next day it started snowing, and Vince died of hypothermia right next to us, and we had the same clothes. So I watched a man die, freezing to death. Then the other lad, he went off with a goat herder, and then I was ended up by myself, and basically 7 days, 8 nights to hit the Syrian border. And the cold was the hardest thing. During the day, I couldn't move. I would try and find a hollow, somewhere to hide. Desert floor, there's nothing there. And this wind cutting through, had cold injuries and all the rest. And then the first night on the run, we did 70 kilometers, about 50 miles, and we were carrying our belt kits, which was about 50 pounds. I burnt my feet because we were really hammering it. So the blisters then got infected. I was losing weight rapidly every day. You're lying there just friggin' freezing and no sleep. And then at night, I could start moving. And, you keep bumping into Iraqis and various others. Then eventually got to the border. And when I got across the border, I got to a Syrian, Bedouin. They got me into a town, but then there was a lynch mob tried to get me back into Iraq. Then the police held a mock execution for me, where they blindfolded me, put a pistol to my head, and I eventually got back to Damascus, where I was handed over to the secret police. And during that first handover, I was allowed to use a bathroom to clean myself up, because obviously I hadn't washed or anything, and shave. But I'd lost 36 pounds in body weight in 7 days, or lost all my toenails. All the blisters had turned septic. There was pus coming out of them. I had was bed sores on the sides of my leg, my back, arms, elbow. And then if I squeezed my fingernails, there was pus coming out of them. If I sucked in my mouth, blood. I had a blood disorder, damaged liver, damaged kidneys. I drank some water that had come from a chemical plant, and that was full of effluent that had burnt my mouth. And then it took 3 days to get out of Damascus, got into Riyadh, and then a flight back to the base in Saudi where my squadron was. And then it transpired 4 of the guys had been captured. 2 had died of hypothermia, froze to death. Legs had tried to swim the Euphrates, and he died immediately on the other side. And 1 guy was shot and killed. So 2 guys died of cold, which is criminal, because we didn't have the right kit, right radios, and And also, we've been told that if we were contacted, they would send in a helicopter to pick us up. But when we did get contacted, they changed their mind and said no, let them write them off.
Suicide mission?
Yeah.